Today, we are discussing Luis Hernández, how the Giants were able to lock down the top shortstop and the top international prospect in this signing period. The Nico Hoerner update, what in the world is going on? The beef between Giants fans and Cubs fans, Logan Webb getting traded. What are we talking about right now? And last but not least, let's talk about Josuar González, because that connects to why the Giants might be able to be more aggressive now in this trade period with the farm system and how it is bolstering up.
You are Locked On Giants, your daily San Francisco Giants podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, y'all? I'm Alan Stiles. Welcome to Locked On Giants, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Now, thanks to you, the #1 sports podcast network. On the show, we provide daily episodes Monday through Friday talking about the San Francisco Giants in a way that combines passion, analytics with the eye test, and a little bit of fun. I'm from the Bay Area, but I live in Sacramento now, and I host a show on Sacktown Sports 1140, as well as emceeing Sacramento Rivercast games. All in all, I'm lucky enough to cover a team I've been a fan of all my life. All right, as you can see, let's just get the elephant out of the room, if you will, because I'm not in my bedroom anymore. I told y'all I was working on some things after my second kiddo came. She's now, 4 months already? Time is flying by. So I've been working on this. By the way, I was also kind of waiting it out, trying to figure out when this whole thing was going to work out, if it was going to work out with Nico Hoerner. So that's why I didn't want to do a show yesterday and something broke, or I was trying to wait it out to see if something was going to happen. I was also finishing setting all this up. So as much as you all loved looking at my bed and how well it was made every day, we are going to be rocking it out in my new threads, in my new area. So I'm very excited for that, as you can tell. So let's get right on into it. I hadn't talked about it. I brought it up on the last show because I knew it was getting close, but the Giants actually did it. They get it done. They sign Luis Hernández, who is a complete stud when it comes to who a lot of people believe he's going to be. He's 17 years old, and he's already showing flashes of somebody that's going to have a long career in this league. Obviously, it's still new. Obviously, he's still young. Obviously, there are a lot of ifs with a lot of these prospects just in general, whether they're international or not. But this is a huge day for the Giants and their future as they're trying to build up that farm system. So as it goes, we have this from our guy, Alex Pavlovich. He says, Venezuelan shortstop Luis Hernández signed on Thursday morning during a ceremony at the organization's Felipe Alou Baseball Academy in the Dominican Republic. Hernández signed exactly 1 year after Josuar González, who already is a top 100 prospect overall and is considered the organization's second best prospect. We got more on that in the last segment. Hernández will get a signing bonus of about $5 million per sources, the second biggest international bonus in franchise history. The Giants gave Lucius Fox $6 million in 2015 before restrictions were put in place, and Gonzalez signed for just under $3 million a year ago. A right-handed hitter, Hernandez is the #1 player on both the Baseball America and MLB Pipeline boards. He has long been connected with the Giants, who were on him early and had no doubts in recent months that Hernandez would sign. He is so mature for his age as a player. Senior Director of International Scouting Joe Salermo said recently he can play short with plus skills. He is a plus hitter. He's going to have plus power. The only thing you can knock him for is he's an average runner, but the way he controls the game is incredible for a younger kid. Hernandez vaulted to the top of the class in part because of an eye-opening performance in a professional league in Venezuela last summer, playing against some of the former big leaguers and pitchers who were a decade older than him. The teenager hit .346 and struck out just 11 times in 114 plate appearances. Salermo visits Venezuela 4 or 5 times a year, and the Giants have also had a good relationship with Carlos Guillen Academy in Macaré, where Hernandez trains. The longtime big league shortstop played on the Seattle Mariners with Randy Wynn, who now runs the Giants player development department. Our evaluators in Venezuela did a really good job of identifying the player and feeling comfortable with the player, Salermo said. The Giants came away impressed not just with Hernandez's physical skills, but also his makeup, because he's so advanced at the plate. It's possible that he will skip the Dominican Summer League and go straight to Arizona this summer to begin his professional career. The Hernandez signing will continue to add to a farm system that is on the rise. In addition to Gonzalez and Hernandez, the Giants will add the number 4 overall pick in the 2026 MLB draft this July after getting lucky in December's lottery. Now that he's officially a Giant, Hernandez joins one of the best groups of young middle infielders in the minors. And they go on to talk about Johnny Level, who signed out of Venezuela in 2024, and Gavin Keelan, who we've talked about as well. This is just a treasure trove of young shortstops that everybody would be really excited about. And I think a lot of people are really excited about. But here's the thing. As we say time and time again on this show, everybody is not going to hit. Everybody is not going to be the next Trey Turner, Corey Seager. That's just not how it works. The hope is at least, I don't know, out of this group, hopefully 2, but at the very least, one of them hit. And when I say hit, not just be a big leaguer, will one of these guys turn into a star? And ultimately, we're going to have to wait to find out. But now we have a large group, a group of 5-6 guys on top of the group of outfielders that are much closer in the fray. That is a huge deal for the Giants to be able to lock this down and get it done. I think on the other side of things, it does also, and we're going to talk about this in the third segment as well, it does also help your present, because we've talked about how the Dodgers have been able to use some of these prospects, and even the fights that we've been having with the Cubs fans, because they're saying, well, look at your farm system. It's not even top 10. So even though you could be giving us a top 10 prospect in your system, if your system is not top 10, then what does it matter the same way? So a lot of those conversations that had been had, they're much easier to have when you do boast a top 10 prospect system. And this is how you get there. And obviously, Bryce Eldridge, once he leaves, it might take a little bit of a hit once he's officially a big leaguer, no longer a prospect. But we're seeing things move in the right direction. And as much as a lot of people haven't been happy with the Giants and what they haven't been doing, they have been doing some good things. And it's all kind of on brand. Obviously, you know, they want to build from within. They want to be able to get Vitello some of these young guys that he can get his paws on and mold into the players that he thinks that they can be. On the other side, obviously, I just saw, what was that, Ranger Suarez? He signed as well. So, yeah, you're not getting your fix there from the Giants, but at least they're giving us a little bit of something with some of these young signings that they're making. And in a couple years, hopefully some of these guys pop, or we get to use them in a deal maybe a year or two from now as they are flying up the prospect systems, and that full-on farm system is in a stronger place than it has been under some of the other leadership, we should say, that the Giants have had. So huge day. Just real quick, this is from MLB.com, as they mentioned MLB.com as well, in what Luis Hernández and how he has really kind of shown up. Like we said, he's top prospect in a lot of these situations. But they say Carlos Guillen played 14 seasons in the big leagues and collected more than 1,300 hits en route to earning 3 All-Star appearances. Now a trainer in his native Venezuela. His star pupil of the 2026 class is Hernandez, one of the most heralded players on the international scene in the past few years, gifted with immense physical projection and a laundry list of impressive tools. The native of Venezuela also earns plus marks for his work ethic and all-around baseball IQ. And then they go on to say some of the things that Pav said as well. So, you know, it's a good look. It's a good look for the Giants. No, I'm not leading the show, and I got to do a refresh, but I'm not leading the show with a huge signing or anything like that, at least not yet. I'll refresh in a second here, but we are seeing some positive things happening from the Giants, and it's just really cool to see in a time period where it is easy to be a little bit negative from what the Giants have not done this offseason. So there's a bit of positivity there. Now we have this Nico Hoerner update, which just went completely off the rails pretty much right after we finished the show. Cubs fans saying, well, we're not giving him up unless you give us this guy, and I'll tell you who that guy is on the other side. Just crazy stuff. We'll be right back. More Locked On Giants. Don't move. The NFL playoffs are here, and FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. Every game day during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action, because right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Each game day, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts you can apply to the bets you like the most. Open your profit boost pack first thing on game day and see what boost you want to apply. The boost lets you lean into your game day instincts, whether you're backing momentum, defense, quarterback play, or coaching. The boosts give you more juice on the bets you already like instead of forcing you to bet on something new. Every play feels bigger, and the boosts make your bets feel that way too. You make your picks, then apply your profit boost to go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs get rolling. So visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. Second segment here, and yeah, things just got a little bit wild right after the show with all of the Nico Hoerner trade arguments and debates. So Bob Nightingale, by the way, he just came out and said he thinks Hoerner is definitely staying put. He said definitely stays put. First he said I think, then later in his hit he said definitely stays put. And look, we know what it is, right? At first we didn't necessarily know what the Cubs were attempting to do, but the reality is the Cubs are still trying to win baseball games. They go out, they've made some moves, and they think that they can compete at the highest level, and that's what they want to do. So the fact of the matter is they were never trying to give up Nico Hoerner in that way. It just came up because once somebody only has 1 year left on their contract, you find out or you figure out, hey, can we get a little something back for him in case we lose him in free agency and things go a little bit squirrely during the season, and now all of a sudden we lose him for nothing or we lose him for a lot less value. With that being said, I think Brendan Donovan is somebody that can still help the Giants, but the way things went so crazy with Cubs fans doing the thing where they talk trash about the Giants farm system, that's fine. The Giants are still trying to figure it out and to build it up. We get all that. But the idea, when I saw this, and it actually was a thing, it was not really this made up idea. When I saw the idea that the Giants would give up or could give up Logan Webb with multiple years of control for 1 year of control for Nico Hoerner all of a sudden turned into Shohei Ohtani. And I'm just not quite sure when exactly that happened. But, you know, I understand fan bases are always going to overvalue their guys, and I'm not even hating on them for that. But at the same time, you sound ridiculous. You sound absolutely ridiculous. So this whole thing was going on. And then it came out, well, the Cubs don't really want to move Nico Hoerner anyway. Like I said, Bob Nightingale said that. Others said that as well. So now it feels like this thing is dead in the water. And my biggest question is, who gave Jeff Passan sketchy information? Who gave him sketchy information? Now, he did a great job of caveating everything. It wasn't necessarily that a deal is imminent or the situation with Arson Judge. It wasn't anything like that. But Jeff Passan never says stuff like that. And now you're making me want to refresh what's going on here. But he never says stuff like that. So it was very random to me for him to come out and say that. And I said that on that show, right? So for that to happen, then things to go a little quiet, and then for the Cubs to say, well, we're not actually planning on moving Nico Hoerner, that's what has kind of got me a little thrown off. And if I were to guess what happened, Jeff Passan gets this information. The Giants are interested in both. The Cubs kind of are seeing what they could get back for Nico Hoerner, and the idea of what the Giants do have just didn't really entice them. And then they started looking around saying, well, do we have to move him anyway? And not to say that they won't, but things have gone a lot quieter there. So at that point in time, they said, well, we're just going to set this price tag higher than anybody wants to pay, kind of do that deal. And now everyone can kind of go about their ways. Or the Giants can come back and say, well, we're still kind of calling your bluff. We can up the deal a little bit. Not to say we think that Luis Hernandez is going to take the place of a Johnny Level or whoever like that right now, just on signing day. But we're going to see if you'll bite at this, because it's all just like Shark Tank to me. It's always just like Shark Tank. You have what you want to give up as far as the percentage of your company. You have what you want to give up. Then you have what your actual ceiling is. And I think right now, the Giants, if an offer even went out, probably wasn't their ceiling, right? So the Cubs said no to the initial offer. Now here comes the actual ceiling. And whether or not the Cubs say no to that, that's what remains to be seen. On the other side, even though I do think Nico Hoerner might be a little bit better than Brendan Donovan, you are giving up something for more years of control. And you're giving up something for somebody that can play a little bit of outfield. So that gives you more optionality. I believe he's really only played left. He's not going to play center. And I don't know about right field, but it just gives you more flexibility that you would not have with Nico Hoerner. So Nico Hoerner, to me, how I think it's being laid out is that Nico Hoerner has a higher ceiling, but Brandon Donovan is somebody that, even though he has a lower ceiling, can do more for you, might not cost as much, and you have him for a longer period of time. So you can go back and forth with who you like better. But when these price tags start coming out and they start sounding crazy, and you got Cubs fans talking about, well, Logan Webb or nothing, that's where this whole thing just went squirrely to me. And that's not to say the Cubs are saying we need Logan Webb. I think that's just delusional fans. And every fan base has delusional fans. So I'm not quite sure who exactly thought that Logan Webb was the same price tag or a fair trade from 1 year of Nico Hoerner, but I don't know what these people are talking about. Absolutely no clue what they are talking about. This isn't 1 year of Shohei Ohtani. This isn't 1 year of Aaron Judge. Can we just relax a little bit? But like I said, every team has these types of fans, so we get it. We get it. We can think that you're crazy, but we get it. So now, as the Giants kind of turn their attention to Brandon Donovan and what he may be able to do, I think if you are the Cardinals, you're saying, hey, well, now we know that you were willing to pay this, or what the price that could have been for Nico Hoerner. So now we want to make sure that we're getting what we feel like we need. Now, the difference is the Cardinals don't have as much leverage, because the Cardinals, we all know, are trying to go in a different direction. And with Brandon Donovan being 29 or about to turn 29, he's not someone that is going to be around for this turnaround. You've already started selling parts off with Arenado and others, so they don't have the same amount of leverage, but they are going to try to at least make their way into the mix and get whatever they feel like is fair value for somebody like a Brandon Donovan. But I just thought it just escalated. It felt like the Anchorman scene where he says, boy, that escalated quickly. I think I did the show, had to do something else, posted it, and I go on social media, and all of a sudden Logan Webb's name is being thrown around. It was absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, but it was at least funny, at least for now. Because if it does happen, that would be insane. There's no way it does. But the fact that I just came back to a complete mess between Cubs fans and Giants fans, I did not have that on my bingo card at all. As we get into the last segment of the show for today, Josuar Gonzalez, is he primed to take a leap? There is a huge baseball outlet platform that almost put him above Bryce Eldridge as the top prospect in the Giants system. Yeah, you heard that right. I'll tell you who it is and why everybody is so high on Josuar Gonzalez. Don't move. More Locked On Giants coming up. Thank you for making Locked On Giants your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Giants with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and more. All for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Go to LockedOnSFGiants.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. If you're a true diehard Giants fan, the Everydayer All Access tier is built for you. You'll get one-on-one text access with me, all access episodes, an exclusive newsletter, and 15% discount to the Locked On merch store. Head to LockedOnSFGiants.supercast.com to join the Everydayer Club and unlock all access. You can also find the link in the show notes. Last segment for you on this Thursday. And yeah, it's a really good day for the Giants farm system. We already talked about Luis Hernández, who they signed, but to add on to it, what they have with Josuar, González. I know right now things might seem a bit middling. And honestly, who knows if Buster Posey is still here when some of these guys are ready, but Josuar González beat out or almost beat out Bryce Eldridge as the #1 top prospect for Baseball America. And MLB.com also has him #2. Now, the Giants are really starting to build up this farm system, and it might make up time if some of these other shortstops are able to be moved because the Giants have options, right? When you look at a Gavin Keelan and other guys like Johnny Level, you have to make some tough decisions. You got Gavin Keelan at 3. You got Johnny Level at 4. So this whole group, right, once they start, or hopefully they start or continue to make their way up the top 100 draft boards or top 100 prospect boards, and that's what Josuar, he's already on the top 100. Once they start to do that, that's how the minor league system and the farm system can start to get ranked higher and can be put in a different conversation. Just as a refresher on Josuar González, González showed off his all-around ability at an 18 and under World Cup qualifier in Panama in August 2024, going 8 for 22 with more extra base hits, walks, and steals than strikeouts. Regarded as the top performer at that event and as the best position player in the 2025 international crop, he signed with the Giants for about $3 million, the second highest international bonus in franchise history. That was before they just signed today Luis Hernández. He has the highest ceiling in the system as a shortstop with the potential for plus tools across the board. So that's 2 years in a row that the Giants have signed the highest rated position player in the international, crop, if you will. A switch hitter, González generates electric bat speed with ease from both sides of the plate. He's a more polished hitter from his natural left side, but displays plenty of power as a righty as well. He'll need to develop more consistent timing with his leg kick, but his compact stroke and advanced feel for the barrel could make him a 280 hitter with 25 home runs on an annual basis once he's fully developed. They also go on to say that he's a plus runner. González is a twitchy athlete with a quick first step who should become a base stealing threat. Scouts have no doubts about his ability to remain at shortstop, where he has smooth actions and a strong arm. He has advanced instincts to go with his impressive physical ability, and international scouts have compared him to the likes of Francisco Lindor and Jose Reyes. Jose Reyes, I used to play MLB The Show on PSP, if anybody remembers PSP. So just for some of the measurables and projections, Josuar is 6 foot. Okay, they had him at 167, but again, this is from the prospect rankings. So they got him at 6 foot, 167. Again, these guys are only 17, 18, and they have Luis Hernández at 5'10", 180. So pretty similar, right? Pretty similar in size, and they're both going to fill out as well. So you can see where that power is going to come from. Back in my day, they used to say that actually 5'10" was the perfect hitting size. And I'm pretty sure that's what Manny Ramirez was, 5'10", between 5'10" and 6 foot, because you're not too tall for some of the, some of the pitches. You're not too small for some of the pitches. You got good enough arm length as well. So that all kind of ties into it. And I think that this is a great day for the Giants as far as their system is concerned. On the other side of it, not to say you should ever be worried, because this can happen to anybody, but if I'm Johnny Level or if I'm Gavin Keelan, I might be feeling a little bit uncomfortable today. Because even though they are also highly ranked, because the Giants system is not that highly ranked, they're going to have to send off in a potential trade one of their higher rated prospects. And in a lot of the mock trades that I've seen for either Brandon Donovan or Nico Hoerner, those guys' names keep coming up. So it's part of the game. I'm sure they're used to it. You know, you get paid a lot of money. You got to move when they say it's time to move. So I'm sure they're used to it. I'm sure they understand the process and all of that. But if I'm either one of them, I am not feeling terribly comfortable. I mean, really, any of the names, and I'm going to just say this because I don't want to scare anybody, but it is reality. Another name I saw thrown around was Bo Davidson in a potential trade for one of these second basemen. I did not see Dakota Jordan, but I did see Bo Davidson. So some of these guys, I also saw Kiner Martinez, some of these guys that you might fall in love with, or some of these guys that you might be pretty high on because, you know, we've talked about them and you want to see them do their thing. Unfortunately, you just can't have it all. And this is part of building a farm system. You don't build a farm system so all 30 of those guys play for your team. You build a farm system so you can use them in deals like this, so you can help out the guys that you're paying a lot of money to for the next 5 to 7 years. That's just kind of part of the deal. And, you know, you just hope that your guy doesn't get moved. In particular, you know, I got guys that I like, but I try not to get super connected to them just because you can't get connected to them, but also want the Giants to make a move because ultimately they're going to move somebody that you like at some point in time. That's just part of it, right? That's just part of the deal. And hopefully who you get back in return balls out and helps get your team to that level where they haven't been. And if you got to trade a Bo Davidson, unfortunately, but it helps you get to the playoffs, I don't think anybody's going to be complaining in October when we're not at home doing nothing. And instead of me having to do shows about what can we learn from the playoff teams, we can do a show that's talking about the Giants actually being in the playoffs. So it's all a part of it. Change can be tough, and I know nothing has happened yet, but I'm just preparing everybody because I do have a feeling that the Giants are going to go in this direction simply because, if nothing else, they don't want to spend any more money. We do know that they're not trying to spend that money. So it feels like if they are going to spend, it's going to be in the way of an asset. So that's what I have for you today. Thank you for watching Locked On Giants. Thank you for listening to Locked On Giants. Be sure to follow me on social media at _Styles with an I. If you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On Giants ad free, plus members only Discord access and more. Head to Locked On sfgiants on supercast.com to join the club. For those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 national Locked On podcast network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen Locked On MLB. We will talk to you tomorrow. Until then, peace.